Hello friends, how are you doing today? We are going to talk about the second session of Stretch Your Dollars and Stretch Your Food. In the very first segment last week, Nicole did a fabulous job in talking about ways you can take inventory of your pantry, organize it, make it look like your own pantry that makes sense to you. We also talked about how to stretch your dollars by making sure you're utilizing all the food items that is there in our in our pantry. So hopefully you have taken those tips and started going through your pantry and taking note of all the things that you can or you will be using for future, and discarding the items that is no more should be used or should be shared with someone else or your family members who may be able to use it much quicker than you do. So I am going to today talk about the second session, and that session is going to focus on protein you need in your pantry. Now, most of us do have some kind of protein on our pantry shelves, and we sometimes forget to use those. Part of the reason is that either it is not organized well, or sometimes we just don't know how to make use of it. So hopefully today's session is going to give you some guideline on how you can use the proteins present in your pantry shelves. The other thing I also want to talk about, that protein food group, when it comes to pantry, we have diverse variety of food items present in our grocery store, from our grocery store. So hopefully you have a couple of those diverse items too. And if not, hopefully this video is going to give you some guidance on what you might want to buy the next time you go to the grocery store. Protein is a vital, important nutrient because it creates different cells in our body. Actually, every single cell of our body has some kind of protein in it or is made of protein, whether it's your hair, your skin, your bones, your muscles, your organs. Every single tissue and organs are made of protein. So as you can see, we need a good amount of protein in our diet, and the protein that is going to serve us and improve our health, our immune system, and overall stamina and day-to-day working. So make sure you're having enough amount of protein. The good thing that is happening in our grocery store is that we have varied and diverse amount of protein sources that we can use and house in our pantry and make sure that we are consuming enough protein. Whether you are meatitarian and have a regular amount of meat in your diet, eggitarian, consuming eggs and other plant-based sources, or you are vegetarian who consumes dairy products and vegetarian plant-based diet, or vegan who is strictly following a plant-based diet, or keto or paleo diet, there is a kind of protein that you can use to make sure you're consuming enough amount of protein. So let's actually, before we even start talking about the protein, let me introduce myself really quick. My name is Dhruti Patel, and I'm a family and consumer sciences educator with the University of Maryland Extension, and food is my passion, and I teach nutrition, health, and wellness related programs in our community and bring in research-based knowledge and make it more applicable and practical for our audience and our community members in Lower Shore County of Maryland. And I'm very happy to present to you one of my favorite content on pantry organization. So now that that is settled, let's go to the kitchen. All right, my friends, so welcome to my little pantry. I got all the protein sources from my pantry out so that I can give you some example on what all products you can actually have in your pantry, which is going to help you stretch dollars, diversify your meals, give you impactful, nutritious food, as well as the food that is going to taste delicious. I'm actually also going to show you a recipe later on using a few of these ingredients. So I hope you're ready for it. So let's start with the ones that we are already familiar with. We have tuna, two different kinds of tuna. Now, tuna is the easiest of protein you can find at the grocery store, right? It is fully packed of protein, very low in cholesterol most times, if it is packed in water, that is. It is also very, very good snack, ready to go food. So it doesn't take time to cook this item as much. So it's very, very good. However, I do want to draw attention to the kind of tuna that might be available at your grocery store. One may be the chunk light. The other may be solid albacore. Now, there's a difference between these two kinds of products. The one is albacore. It tends to be more expensive. Part of the reason is that the quality of the food you get here is much more higher. Doesn't mean that this product isn't good and it's not high quality. It's just that the kind of fish they use is much more larger. The flavor of this fish is much more milder, so it goes on very different kinds of food items. For example, if you're trying to make a dip you don't want a very fishy taste, or you're trying to make a soup or a wrap stuffing, maybe albacore is a better choice because it has a milder taste to it. On the other hand, the chunk light, the light tuna tends to be much more flavorful. So if you love that oceanic, amazing fishy flavor, this is a good option. It's much more cheaper too. The other thing I also want to divert your attention to is that because this fish on the albacore tuna is much more bigger, it stays in the ocean for much more longer time too. And that means that the chances of it having more mercury in it is much more higher. So if you're a very regular tuna eater, make sure you try to eat this one more than this, because it is a larger fish. The light tuna is smaller in size and it doesn't stay in ocean for too long. And so that's why the chances of it accumulating mercury in itself is much lesser than this one. So just a little bit of a tip on that. So if you're a regular eater, try to eat this more instead of this one. All right. The other form of tuna you will see would be this package. Now, this is very pleasing, especially for those of us who are essential worker right now and have to go to work. This is a good way to carry your tuna rather than carrying this with a can opener. So it's really hard to carry this item. This is easier, plus it has reduced sodium, which is wonderful. However, there's one point I do want to suggest, and that is it is expensive as compared to this. This item has 2 servings of tuna in it, whereas this is just 1 serving. The amount of protein present in them is the same because, again, we are talking about the same fish. So again, this container is going to give you about 22 grams of protein, and so does this. So make sure you're looking at your package and try to get low sodium. You can always add your seasonings and salt by yourself. So try to get the one that is processed in water and not in fat and sodium. Once there is a product processed with that item, you cannot take that out. So you can't take that extra fat and salt out, but you can always go ahead and add your own flavoring and salt if you're just getting a very classic original tuna without any additives to it. So, just a thought for you to think about. The other well-known protein item, especially for our vegetarian folks, is beans, right? Now, usually I carry low sodium items. For me, however, considering the current times, I had a very hard time finding canned beans, first of all, and that too the ones that is actually low in sodium. But again, you can always try to find this. The beans are also, again, a great vegetarian source of protein. One can of chickpeas has about 6 grams of protein. That's 1 serving. This 1 can is 3.5 servings. So again, it's good kind of protein, and so is the red beans. Red beans has kidney beans. It has about 7 grams, so just 1 gram higher than garbanzo beans. It has higher amount of fiber in it than garbanzo beans too. So again, read your label and make a good choice that way. I rather you make the conscious choice by reading and educating yourself of what you are eating than eating without even not knowing. So your labels are your best friend. Please always use that. Always start with maybe the ingredients. Let me see if I can find this for you. Always start with the ingredients and then go back to how much you're supposed one serving is and how much you're truly eating, and then based on that look at the calories and sodium, cholesterol, and protein. The other thing that when it comes to vegetarian source of protein is concerned, many times they are not fully complete protein. They have 1 or 2 missing protein blocks, and so that's why it's always a good idea to mix different kinds of protein, or mixing beans with rice, or mixing beans with maybe soybean edamame or something like that. So use different kinds and mixtures of beans and lentils, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. So that way you're adding different variety of the protein sources, and by that you're increasing the amount of protein and the more creating a better configuration for the protein and create a complete protein that way. So I told you about lentils. I just mentioned that, so let me tell you what it looks like. For some of you may not know, lentils actually are my favorite source of protein. Part of the reason is that the amount of protein it has. 1 serving was this, or even this is another kind of lentil. It's a green pea lentil. So you must have seen this at the grocery store. Maybe some of you are already using it. 1 serving of this gives you about 10 grams of protein. This is amazing. And great amount of fiber in it. So you may ask me, Dhruti, I have seen this, but I don't know how to cook this. The easiest thing I can tell you is you boil it like you boil your rice. And don't add salt in it. Very important. When you add salt, it hardens the shell of this lentil, and that's why it's going to take much longer time for you to cook. So what I advise you to do is that either use a stock if you're making soup, vegetable or beef or whatever kind of stock you like, or add like a pot of garlic and some whole bay leaves in the water, and place your lentil in the water, in the boiling water, and let it cook till you are ready to eat, or you know, the texture of that lentil tastes better for you, because for everyone it's different. Some like much more softer lentil than the others who like more al dente. So figure that out for yourself. And so again, that's the easiest way to cook. The other thing you can do with lentil is that you can actually add them in soups. You can make salad. Actually, I'm going to show you one of my favorite Mediterranean lentil salad recipe in just a bit. So hold on for a second. It's just very versatile. You can add that in the scrambled eggs. I know it sounds very weird, but trust me, it's going to bulk up the food. It's going to taste good. The other good part about lentil is it has no taste to it. So no matter what you add in it, it's going to take up all the flavors from those and adapt it very well. So again, very, very good source. One of the other favorite lentil of mine, and again, I'm from Indian descent, so I am very familiar with this lentil, and this is called mung bean. Mung beans are very well known nowadays. You can find them at the health food stores, or even Indian stores in your vicinity should have that. They're whole grains, again, fully packed off you know, great protein and great amount of fiber. If you soak them and sprout them, you can actually even increase the vitamin B content in it. So let me show you what it looks like. So as you can see here, these are like a beautiful green little lentil, and again, you cook them the same way you do lentil and brown rice or white rice. So you cook them and then add them in the soup, salads, whatever that you might want to use. I forgot to show you a little lentil here. This is green split peas. We're going to use this today. And we have another lentil. This is a brown lentil. So as you can see, they're very tiny little lentil, but they're fully packed with all the amazing nutrients that you might need. Other favorite of mine, other versatile option for of mine is quinoa. Now I have packed this in the jar because I use this so much. So it looks mostly like this. Now again, there are two different kinds of quinoa in this, brown and white. So many times you only get white or brown. These are mixed. So, you know, they both are equally good. Packed with protein, 6 grams of protein and one serving of the quinoa. Again, quinoa, you can literally replace your rice with quinoa. Again, no flavor whatsoever. It adapts to whatever seasoning you add or ingredients you add. So again, very good replacement. Quinoa is a very, very good kind of food. And I'm going to teach you how to cook quinoa and different ways of using quinoa in my session when I'm talking about grains, because actually this is a grain. It's actually one of the ancient grains that was used in European countries back in time. So again, very, very good grain. We are going to experiment with that next time. The last but not the least is hemp hearts. Now this is a new upcoming thing that has come up, but again, for good reason. Many times you think about hemp hearts, you know, we are thinking about marijuana and other items. However, these are very different. They do not have THC present in them, and they are mostly just the seeds of the plant. And they are very, as you can see, one serving, which is 3 tablespoons of this product, has 10 grams of protein. And even more beautiful, they have a great amount of omega-3s and 6s. Again, getting from plant source is very rare because most times our omega-3s and 6s comes from a very effective amount of that comes from our ocean-based fishes and other you know, items coming from seafood group. So again, to have it so much in high quantity in a plant-based source is tremendous. And again, you can do so much with this. We are going to make a recipe where this is one of the ingredients we are going to add to improve the protein even more in that item. I use this on yogurt bowl for my breakfast, add it in oats, make my energy balls with it. I even add this in my, what do you call it, the patties, the tuna patties that I'm about to make for you guys and demonstrate that for you. It's, again, very versatile. It doesn't taste, it doesn't have any off flavor. It's just like any other seeds. You can also make milk out of this too. So again, amazing, amazing quality of protein available in this. So now that I have introduced you a little bit to my pantry ingredients I use, I hope that you are able to get the idea that I love stretching my food, and I sure love combining different varieties of groups, maybe from the meat or maybe beans or lentil, other sources, because every single item here has something beautiful when it comes to nutrition profile. So by combining them, you're getting goodness from all of it. Isn't that wonderful? So again, let's take a little bit of break. I'm gonna get my kitchen ready and show you exactly how I use my tuna, some beans, some hemp seed, and creating a wonderful, versatile tuna bean patty, which is, you can use it in different ways, and I'm going to discuss that. All right, friends, we are ready to cook our tuna bean patties. And why this is one of my favorite recipe is because of the versatility and the amount of variations I can create with this just one staple recipe. You can create different variety in means of what kind of beans you add, the kind of meat you use. Today I'm using tuna, the light tuna, which is 1 can. This is 1 can of beans. I'm going to use about half of this. I have sauteed some baby kale, some green onions with just a hint of fresh garlic and salt. Why I do that is because I want to pack as much vegetable as possible in my patties, and if I were to use fresh kale, it would bulk up very quickly. These are literally 2 cups of kale that I sauteed, so you can see the amount of kale and vegetable I'll be able to add just because of sauteing it. So I tend to do that a lot. The other thing why I like sauteing garlic and some onion is that it enhances the flavor when you saute it. So I love doing that. And also it removes a little bit of intense flavor of garlic in your patty too, because it doesn't take too much cooking time. So you can always do that. Other thing that I love to add in my patty is some heat. And I love adding heat by adding some jalapenos. So this is one jalapeno, a medium-sized one. So I love adding that and just to give it a little bit of heat. The other favorite seasonings that I love to use is ground cumin. Cumin is very, very good, mostly because it adds a little bit of smoky taste, and I love adding that a lot. The other thing I really like using is paprika. It gives a good color, and this variety that I have is not as spicy or as hot. So again, it just adds a little bit of color and smokiness, so I love doing that. The other thing I have is egg, of course. In order for you to bind your patty, you're going to need some eggs. So that's definitely one of them. I also have some hemp seeds. As I said before, I'm going to add, this is 1 serving of hemp seed, which is about 3 tablespoons of it. So we're going to add that, again, boosting that protein. We are adding this protein, this source of protein, and this. The amount of protein we're going to have through even eating 1 serving of patty would be great, right? And also don't forget the omega-3 fats, very heart healthy fats, right? The other thing that you're going to need is the oats, ground oats. And this is something that I did it by myself. I do not like to completely make flour out of it because I like a little bit of chewiness in my patty, so I kept it a little bit chunky. So you can just use your blender and a steel cut oat at home or old-fashioned oats at home, and just use a blender and pulse it quickly, and it's going to create a wonderful flour. You don't have to spend extra money on trying to create a flour like that. You can just make it at home. So again, you're saving money like that by, rather than investing money on already pre-made flour, you're making it from scratch, and it doesn't even take time. The other thing we're going to add is panko, which is crispy breadcrumbs, and salt. Of course, we're going to adjust that, and we are going to start prepping and assembling everything. We are getting close to making our patty. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create small patties, and I'm going to take a pan, heat the pan, spray a little bit of oil on it, and then cook my patty, and I'm going to get back to you with the final product. I don't want to waste too much time, so. And here is our tuna black bean patty. I usually like to eat my patty with the sauce. It is cilantro, lime, dill sauce, and it is very healthy recipe. You can use this as a dressing, as a little sauce to dip in your patty in. You can also add this in your wraps and other your salad bowls and things like that. So I'm going to insert recipe instructions for this. It's very easy, very quick, and so fresh to make. It's delicious. This sauce actually stays in the refrigerator from up to 5 to 7 days, no more than that. So use it up as quickly as you can. Your vinaigrettes and other homemade dressing that is oil-based usually lasts for up to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. So just a little caution. I love making the patty, but not just because it's patty and I can make a panini or sandwiches with it, but I also like to, crumble them in pieces, put it up on the nachos with cheese and stuff, and it tastes delicious. I love sometimes scrambling my eggs and just have one patty on the side, and it bulks up my meal, my breakfast. And again, it's so good, and it's full of good vitamins and good protein source. So I love to do that too. Also I like to add this in the lettuce wrap. So you take a leaf of big lettuce, maybe green on red, and then again you shred it in little pieces, and then layer your sauce, your cheese, your brown rice or rice of your choice. And there you go, your full meal is ready. So it is very versatile, and the way you can cook it is so amazing. So again, we are done with this. And now let me show you how we can actually make my Mediterranean lentil salad. Here you go, my friends. So I have about a little bit over half a cup of cooked lentils here. I have cooked them in water with 3 bay leaves and 1 pot of garlic, which was just small. It was just slightly bruised so that it oozes more flavor while it's boiling in the water. And then I cooked it for almost 17 minutes. Again, as I said, go by your instinct. If you like slightly softer lentil, go by that. If you like al dente, then adjust the timing that way. So this is a very easy recipe. I have chopped cucumbers here. I love to keep the skin on, but I make sure that I clean the skin and my cucumber very nicely, and so I wash it very thoroughly. I have some chopped spring mix, which has mostly baby spinach and some red lettuce. I have some chopped cherry tomatoes, red onions, some Kalamata olive, and then I have some feta, fresh feta. I love adding feta because it adds saltiness, so I don't have to add extra salt in my salad because of it. So I'm going to actually add all of it in this bowl. And the cheese. And then I've made a homemade lemon vinaigrette dressing with 2 tablespoons of lemon juice and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. It's extra virgin olive oil. You're not supposed to cook extra virgin olive oil, but you can use them in dressing because it adds punch of flavor in it. So I always use that. I've added dry dehydrated garlic. It's not garlic salt, but dehydrated garlic minus salt. And I've added some pepper in it. As I said before, feta tends to have a lot of salt in it, so I don't like to add extra salt if I can. So I'm going to pour this on the top. The other thing I like to do, and I'm going to mix it nicely. The other thing I like to do with this recipe is that I love to add my fresh herbs, like fresh basil, fresh mint. It just tastes so delicious, and you don't even miss the dressing, to be honest with you. If I have fresh herbs in my refrigerator, I tend not to do anything but just squeeze some lemon juice, salt and pepper, and I'm good to go. Now look at this beautiful salad. I like to rest it for at least 5 to 7 minutes in the refrigerator, so the vinaigrettes and all the vegetables soaks into the lentils. As I said before, lentils are naturally not a very flavorful food, so they take up the flavor from other items. So with all the goodness here, you want to let it sit for a little bit. So, maybe rest it for like 5 to 15 minutes in the refrigerator, and you are good to have 2 servings of beautiful salad. There are times when this is the only food I have because it's so filling. And I have everything from it. I have great amount of fiber, great amount of vitamins and minerals, and good amount of protein through lentils. So I hope you can also, actually I forgot, you can also add hemp seeds in it too, to improve more protein content in this salad. So give it a try. Let me know how it goes, and I can't wait to see all your creations with this. Again, you can experiment with the herbs, you can experiment with the vegetables you add, the dressing you make. Again, possibilities are endless. The goal of these tutorial or these idea was to give you inspiration so you can take it and make it your own. You just saw by just few ingredients, adding few ingredients, I have completely changed the way we can cook on everyday basis, and the portioning, and the more you cook at home, the more money you are going to save anyway. Most of these items are readily available in your pantry for a much lesser amount of money. And so you can see how far it stretches and how diverse our protein group is in the pantry. So I hope you give that a try, both the recipe a try. Let me know in the comment section. Take a picture. I would love to see the picture of your salad and your tuna patties and how you cook and how you diversify that recipe. I can't wait to see you all next time, and have a wonderful day. Stay in great health and great spirit. Take care.